On the Track is a web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy!
So what do we have in this episode, Mr. John?
Well, Hennis, in this episode we have the third part of our interview with Steve Andrews about the changing wildlife in Portugal. And then we go all the way to sunny Florida, where the delightful Katy Elizabeth is going to tell us all about her new project. Enjoy. Bingo.
I really like the old credits.
And now, it's Gwen Dibley's Pearls of Wisdom.
He who fondles you more than usual has deceived you, or seeks to do so.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology, and welcome to another episode of On the Track. I am co-presented this episode by the lovely Lilith Tinkerbell, my cat, who's a very sweet little cat and who has been sitting on my stomach, probably because it's warm, because I've got quite a big stomach, nearly all of the week. For regular viewers, I probably don't need to tell you this, but for those of you who are new viewers, and our viewing figures do suggest that we're getting new people each week, this is a show which is a regular melange of hard science, weird shit, and surreality. What's surreality? Well, now we've got that out of the way, and before we get on with the events of the show proper, I want to pass you over to tell you about my brother. Well, ladies and gentlemen, much as though it pains me to tell you this, but there are more important things in life than cryptozoology and the other disciplines that we talk about on this show. And there are even more important things than elderly gentlemen dressing up in chicken costumes and generally playing the fool. Because although I tell you that looking at things through humour is one of the best ways of analysing the world around us, there are some things which you can't laugh at, and this is one of them. You may or may not know that my little brother Richard, who's 4 years younger than me, is a clergyman who lives and works in Germany, and recently he visited Ukraine, and he was so upset and appalled at the conditions that the people are living there that he saw while he was there that no sooner had he returned to his wife and family in Germany, but he started up a amazing campaign. In Ireland there's a company called Kettles who make these wood-burning kettles which do not need external power sources in order to be able to cook and to boil water and to provide heat. And Richard has done a deal with these people, and he has managed to get the Kettle Company to donate at cost these kettles, which are going to be sent to Ukraine. And Richard is raising money now to buy as many of these kettles as possible. And although I never ask you to raise money on these pages for us, It's very kind of you when you do donate something, but I never ask for money. I now am. Please, can you use the link below and send some money to my brother, who is doing his best to alleviate some of the horrific suffering which the Ukrainian people are undergoing this winter. I am going to be running this advert, because I suppose it's an advert. I've never made an advert before, but I'm going to be running this advert every episode until the springtime. And if the war is still going on when we come to the colder months of the year next year, then I'll be running it again. And now we rejoin Steve Andrews for the third and final part of the interview that I conducted with him a few weeks ago.
You know, I know the UK has been really hard hit, you know, with weather and with many other problems. I think that with the larger animals, again, let's talk about birds. Birds are doing really well here. I'm really, you know, glad to be able to say that. The blackbirds do okay all year through. House sparrows are doing fine here. I don't see starlings, so I can't really comment on them. A bird which is really interesting is that the white stork. They're doing fine, and also they've changed. I've looked all this up. That they don't migrate now. They stay resident in Portugal all year round. And I was surprised because I was out and about recently and I had to go down a main road where there were big electricity pylons, and there were like 8 stork nests on the pylons with the storks on them and other storks up in the sky flying around. And I thought, look, are these storks attempting to nest like now, like in December? You know, what's going on? But apparently they use the nests as roosts, but they don't actually lay eggs until maybe later on. And the storks, I also found this out, the storks have also adapted to feeding from landfill sites over here now. So storks are doing really well.
You know that white storks are back in England now?
Yes, I saw some news about that, yeah.
This is the centre of the white stork population in England. Is a place called Knapp Castle in Sussex. And I'd strongly suggest you read a book called Wilding by Isabella Tree, which is about how they rewilded their ancestral land, stopped being farmers and made it into wilderness. And one of the things they did was to encourage storks to come over from Holland, where there's a large residential population, and brought them over, and now they're breeding there and spreading away from Sussex, which is fantastic, I think.
Oh, that is fantastic news, yeah. Yeah, and I'm all for, you know, rewilding and also, you know, farmers that have got, should we say, you know, modern farming going on, if they like can leave some of their land, you know, for nature, that's something else which is happening and which is good.
Well, I read once that one person who was most responsible for the decline in British butterflies was Winston Churchill, because in the war, he encouraged farmers to till the land right up to the hedges rather than leave a border. And that really, really, really badly affected the butterfly populations. Which is the thing I found fascinating. You would never have thought of someone like Winston Churchill.
Because you always think, you know, he's the good guy, but, you know.
He was the good guy. He did all sorts of good things about rewilding his estate at Chartwell, and they didn't call it rewilding in those days. But he did sign the death knell for quite a lot of populations of British butterflies. So what about everywhere in Europe, the larger mammals seem to be coming back slowly?
Yeah, over here, a success story is the lynx, the Iberian lynx. I know that they've been reintroduced in a few places, and there are like, they monitor the populations, and the Iberian lynx is a success story, as I say, that they're making a comeback. I know there are wolves in some parts of Portugal, not in the area I'm in. There are no wolves around here, no Iberian lynx, but there's actually one problem for both those animals is that the European rabbit has had serious problems. That's a declining species, and that's the main food source, certainly for the Iberian lynx.
I used to see rabbits a lot around here, and I don't anymore. Hang on, Archie. Archie, stop digging a hole. My semi-domesticated subspecies of the grey wolf was just trying to dig a hole in the carpet, which I think probably grey wolves would never have done in the wild, mainly because there were no carpets. There are all sorts of, and England, Britain is now the only Western European country not to have wolves, and that's because we're an island. There are even wolves in Belgium and Luxembourg. Which I think that's absolutely fantastic. And bears are making a comeback, aren't they?
Yeah, I've seen something about that. I'm not sure where they are exactly. Maybe, John, do you know the countries that have got bears in there?
I know there are bears in Spain now. There are bears in France, bears in Spain, bears in various of the Scandinavian countries. I know that. And I have an idea from memory that there are a few bears, very few bears, somewhere up in the north of Portugal, but that's just from memory. So I would recommend anybody look it up on the internet rather than take my word for it. But the thing also that I find funny, interesting, is how animals like the golden jackal are now colonizing parts of Europe where they've never lived, or at least not in historical times lived. And we're seeing a real renaissance of Europe, the larger European mammals. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I think that's a mixture of climate change, agricultural use change, and the fact that people don't do blood sports in anywhere near the number they used to do.
As much as they did, yeah.
And younger people find the idea of killing things for fun absolutely abhorrent. I mean, I've always found that absolutely abhorrent, but a lot of people of my age still go out and do it, whereas younger people don't. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And it's one of the reasons that these mammals are recolonizing Europe.
Well, I think that you're definitely right with that. And I just actually thought of some more like mammals that live here. There's the mongoose and the genet. And I'm sure, I don't know when those animals arrived here, but, I know they do pretty well here in Portugal. And the wild boar. The wild boar does very well over here.
Wild boar are doing very well in Britain.
Are they?
Yeah, because animal welfare groups, Animal Liberation Front for one, broke into various wild boar farms, and now they're wild. And you can see them quite commonly in quite a few parts of Britain. Romney Marsh for one, and Forest of Dean for another. Which I think is fantastic. Hang on.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic as well.
Archie, stop it. That stupid bloody dog. He's now scratching his Because as you may or may not have heard, I have to have my feet off the ground now because I've managed to injure them quite a lot, which means I'm lolling back like a lady of pleasure, which is why I have a little black cat sat on me and an idiotic dog scratching his back on my feet, which is rather silly. But yeah, wild boar are really good in England now. And beavers, of course, in Scotland. Which
Yeah, I was just about to say the beavers. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, your mongooses they are natural there and endemic and have been there for a long time.
They might be.
But I believe the genet, and this is a really weird thing, that before people kept domestic cats, they kept semi-domesticated genets and genets and beech martins as house pets to keep vermin down. And that's why you've got both beech martins and pine martins on some of the Greek islands where you really shouldn't have them. And I'm pretty sure that's why you've got genets in Portugal.
Yeah.
Do you have and this is I really can't remember from my Portuguese mammal list, but do you have porcupines?
No.
Because they're in Greece and northern Spain, northern Italy, and bits of Spain. And I didn't know if they come down. It's actually the big crested porcupine, which is exciting,
Well,
I think.
if we do, I've not heard of any at all. We have hedgehogs over here.
Desmans?
Yes, there is a species of Desman here, an endangered species.
Oh, I've always wanted to see a Desman. I think they're absolutely magnificent creatures.
Yes, I agree with you, but this endangered species, I doubt if I will ever see one. And I think they're living in some mountain area here.
Yes,
And
the Pyrenean Desmond. There's only two species. The Pyrenean, which is a bit bigger than a mole, and basically it's a mole that swims.
swimming mole, yeah.
And the Russian Desmond, which is considerably bigger and probably about the size of Lilith here. But I love Desmond. I think they're fantastic creatures.
Oh, they are. They're beautiful. And I remember I saw somebody posted about, again, that there was a Facebook wildlife group, and somebody posted on there about the Desmond. And that is something that, is that because I'm a member of this group, I get to see people's photos and footage, their videos of all kinds of stuff that is living in their areas. And that's something, in Portugal, there are so many different kind of areas, and what lives in my area maybe doesn't live in somebody else's area, and so it goes. And I don't tend to travel that much either, so there's a lot of stuff here that I'd love to see, but whether I will ever get to see them, I don't know. One thing I would like to see is I'd like to see fire salamanders, and I haven't seen any of those in this area.
What salamanders do you have your way?
Sorry, what do they?
Do you have the other European salamanders, the dark ones? And I can't remember what they're called. The black salamanders.
We only have the ones with the kind of the yellow and black.
Yeah, that's
also like red and black sometimes as well. We have those.
They're the same. They're the same species, just a different color morph.
Yeah, and I think that I saw that in Belgium that they were hit very badly. I think maybe I don't know the current status, but I know that like a lot of them died over there because of the chytrid fungus.
And absolutely appalling.
Yeah, it's terrible. But like when I see people over here telling me, with photos and videos of the amphibians they've got on their farms and on their gardens, whatever, I always say that, this is wonderful, but this is also important that we look after the amphibians over here.
Agreed
Um,
too.
and the one thing, one of these amphibians that I'm particularly interested in is the Iberian spadefoot toad.
Oh, they're fantastic creatures.
They are indeed, and they live in the area I'm in. And I know this because one of my cats caught one 3 years ago. She was digging in I thought she was going to the toilet. She's going like this, and I thought, she's just about to go to the toilet in the ground there. And then suddenly she went like that, and something flew up in the air. And what's that? Oh gosh, it's an Iberian spadefoot toad. So I grabbed it. And I didn't put it back in the garden because I thought the same thing will happen again. And I think my cat is able to maybe hear it under the ground or smell it.
You will all know Katy Elizabeth, who's an old friend of the show and quite a regular contributor. She has just started a new project.
Various bodies of water around the world are said to be home to mysterious aquatic creatures. Join the world's only organization dedicated to the scientific study of the lake creatures reported worldwide. The International Dracontology Alliance. The goal of the International Dracontology Alliance is to join forces around the globe for the scientific study, conservation and protection of unknown aquatic creatures as well as their natural habitats. Your membership perks will include a beautiful personalized membership certificate, a membership card your subscription to the International Dracontology Alliance bi-monthly digital newsletter and an official International Dracontology Alliance patch. Come, join the International Dracontology Alliance today.
Tell me about this new project of yours.
So I decided a while back, I always get these thoughts in the middle of the night sometimes when I'm just laying in bed thinking and thinking like I always do. And I thought about that there really isn't an organization out there that mainly focuses on the scientific research of lake monsters around the world. I don't even like to call them monsters, creatures. So I got thinking, I know that the lake creature studies aren't as popular as Bigfoot, of course. And I wanted to bring it out there, more awareness of the really important findings over the years, like as my work at Lake Champlain, the sonar, the echolocation, and video that I've captured in the last decade. So I wanted to get an organization out there where people can join forces around the globe and discuss these sorts of phenomenon. And there's really nothing else out there. I mean, based on just aquatic cryptids. I know with the CFZ, you guys do everything. So I said, well, it'd be kind of neat to do something just based on just lake creatures in general. Because I know with a lot of the other cryptids, you have like a mix of everything, and one person's talking about the orang pendak and the skunk ape, and then once in a while Nessie or Champ. So I wanted to base it just mainly on water creatures around the globe.
What's that noise in the background? Is that a dog?
That's one of my roosters.
He did that to me the other day. He makes very strange noises.
Yeah, you know how you have the cat named Squeaky. I think I'm going to name him Squeaky as well because he's got a very squeaky voice.
So, tell me about the Dracontology Alliance. How do you join? What happens? What are you going to get?
Okay, so basically what I've been working on, my main website is katyelizabeth.org. I'm working on a page on that with more information on how to join the organization. But for now, we do have 2 Facebook groups. One's an open public group for discussion. That's actually free to go in for anyone that wants to join in the discussion. But as far as getting into any type of future expeditions and more in-depth chat about the scientific aspects of the studies, joining the group, we have like 2 membership things. One is per year, or it is a lifetime membership. And per year, it's $50 US, and for a lifetime, it's 150, but it never expires. So the lifetime membership is probably the best bet. And with each membership, you get a personalized membership certificate. I worked really hard at the graphics for that, and a membership patch. It's embroidered with the International Dracontology Alliance logo. And then also you get a membership card, which has your name, the date, and all that sort of thing as well. And everybody likes to have a certificate to hang on their wall. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of different things, my world record that I got a few years back. So it's always nice to have something to show your friends and say, hey, I'm part of this really neat group that's probably going to grow and grow. I'm hoping that it does. I know that the Bigfoot world is a huge world in cryptozoology, but I'm hoping that this will broaden the expanse of knowledge with lake creatures, because there's so many, there's so many reports out there around the world. But as far as like the scientific study, you really have to dig into if there's ever been sonar readings at each lake, if there's ever been hydrophone recordings, that sort of stuff. You don't really hear about it much unless you really dig into it.
And Katy will be back with us next week, and we take a more in-depth look at her plans for her new organisation.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer, who is an ever more regular visitor to my little studio, wants me to remind you, always press the notification bell. Otherwise you won't be told when there's a new show to watch.
And that would be an awful pity, wouldn't it?
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We're at the end of another show. I hope you enjoyed it. And I would like to say a big thank you to everybody but for whom the show would not have been made. First of all, big thanks to my producer Louis, but for whom and all that jazz. And to Graham, who looks after me on a day-to-day basis, as well as being Deputy Director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology. He is also my carer, and he's the guy who at the moment takes me to hospital 2 or 3 times a week and pushes me around in my wheelchair. And I really could not function, literally, without him. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate all of it. Thank you to my guests this week, who were Steve Andrews and the lovely Katy Elizabeth. And thank you very much to all of you. And I'll be back on Wednesday. What am I talking about? I have no idea, but I will probably make it up when I'm in bed tonight and film it tomorrow. But I will be back next Saturday, and on next Saturday we have the second part of the Katy Elizabeth interview, and we also have a very exciting interview with Damon Corey, author of the recent book about the mystery animals of the Arawak Indians. Fascinating guy, fascinating topic, and I've been wanting to have him on the show for a long time, and it's great to have him here. So, I will see you on Wednesday at 6:30, and I will certainly see you on Saturday at 3. And if you're there to watch, I'll be seeing you.